Hey everyone, Bren here. On this week's video, I'm going to give you an update on the strawberry hanging basket. Plus, I'll show you how to propagate free strawberry plants. We'll also check out the new large cut flower garden because there's a patch that is looking so colourful, just beautiful at the moment. I think you're really going to like it. We'll also check out a sun-loving flower that has made an appearance over the last 7 days. So please just sit back, relax for a few minutes, and let's get into it now. It's been a while since I've shown you this strawberry hanging basket. It's growing so well and putting out heaps of these beautiful crimson blooms. You can see lots of different stages here of growth on these plants. You've got the flowers to attract the pollinators. Then you've got the petals falling off to expose the strawberry itself there in the center. And then they just continue to grow and ripen. Unfortunately, I don't have any ripe ones to show you that we can harvest today. They get snatched up too quickly, either by the birds or by my family. There is one more stage of growth going on. If we take a look down here, you'll see that this particular plant is putting out all of these runners. Let me explain what's going on here by showing you a short video that I made for my TikTok account years ago. Strawberry plants send out these runners which have baby plants attached to them. This one even has two. There's one there and another one up here. What I like to do with them is put them on top of a pot with soil, hold them in place with a bobby pin, keep them well watered. In a few weeks, you should see roots appearing from the bottom of the pot. Then it's time to cut off the baby from the mother plant by snipping off the runner just about there. Congratulations, you've got new life. How great is it to get all of these free strawberry plants? But the only issue is at this stage when the plants are still producing berries is that the plants themselves are putting a lot of their energy into producing these little baby plants, whereas they may be better off putting their energy into more fruit production so we can get bigger harvests. So I guess it's really your choice what you want to do. For the moment, I'm just going to let them develop, and I'm going to put these in little pots and see if I can rest the pots up here on the basket. Otherwise, I'm going to have to try and figure out some way of perhaps even, tying the pots up to the side of the hang basket and letting them dangle down. It sounds a bit mad. I don't know if it'll work, but I might try that for next week and show you how it goes. I did pop a few marigolds in this hanging basket, but there only seems to be one plant that's survived. I can't see any more in amongst the strawberry plants. No, I've got massive gaps. So I may come in here with some more potted colour to fill out this space. I wouldn't mind if it did have a bit more colour because at the moment it's looking pretty green. I mean, the flowers and the strawberries are very pretty, but they'll be gone soon. And I just want it to be more eye-catching than it looks. Plus the fact I really want to cover all of this black plastic. Now, remember what I did with this hanging basket as a little cheap hack was I used the potting mix bag, I turned it inside out, and I used it as the liner to the basket, which works quite well. Another thing I did was, instead of having all the strawberry plants on the top and overflowing, I popped some holes in the sides of the hanging basket and then put the strawberry plants in so that they dangle down, which is working, but I do have huge gaps. So I'm thinking I'll put some kind of annual in here too. Normally, I know my mother with hanging baskets, she puts in lobeas. No, that's not right. What's it called? Oh, like sometimes you can see the name in your head but you can't say it. Maybe that's a me thing. Lobeas, can't think of it. Okay, alyssum. Alyssum works well too, and it has a beautiful honey scented fragrance which attracts pollinators. So maybe I'll put some alyssum in here, some white alyssum, although you can buy it in purple too, and pink as far as I can remember. While this hanging basket only has a couple of vibrant colours in it, let me show you now the new cut flower garden. Oh my goodness, it is just a rainbow of colour with the zinnias. Oh, check this out. I have been so looking forward to showing you this area because the patch of zinnias is looking gorgeous. It's so packed with colour. Now, I didn't add any of these into the bouquets this week to sell at Tarmore Garden Centre because they weren't quite ready. Some of the stems were a bit too short while others hadn't stiffened up yet. I did the wiggle test on them and they weren't ready. I'll explain the wiggle test a bit later on. But oh, I can't wait for next Wednesday or Thursday when I come here and pick some flowers, because I want to do a bouquet that is mostly just full of these zinnias, and I might add some feverfew as a filler flower, and I hope someone will appreciate that and enjoy them as much as I do when I sell that bouquet. Now I quickly want to go through each row. So everything is planted out again. I had a couple of rows that failed twice. I had some status that failed and Love in the Mist that failed, so now I've just filled them up with zinnia seedlings because they are my favourite summer annual. I love them. Now this is row 4. I have the dahlias. They are just starting to flower. Behind them I have more zinnias, and then this green patch, that's cosmos. Only a couple of flowers, but these usually start to bloom properly in autumn. But I don't mind waiting for those cosmos because we are at that stage of the year where each week there's always new flowers that make an appearance, like these Rebecas that opened up over the last few days. These plants were grown from seed last year and I managed to overwinter 6 of them, which I transplanted into this spot. I had a big patch of these North American daisy-like blooms growing in a different area of the garden last year. Now there were 2 varieties that I grew. One was Indian Summer and the other is what you're looking at here today, which is from a mixed pack of Rebecca Gloriosa. I was just thinking, I'm a little bit unlucky. Out of the 6 plants that I managed to save, all of them seem to be the Rebecca Gloriosa and none of the Indian Summer. But, you know, poking around, if you take a look down here, I actually do have one. So 5 are the Gloriosa and 1 is the Indian Summer. It's just pretty small and it's been dwarfed out by the other flowers, but I'm sure it will reach for the light and get larger very soon. I grew these flowers last year as part of my cut flower selection because they've got really lovely long stems and they hold well in a bouquet. However, something I didn't consider when selecting these as a cut flower was how many pests are drawn to them, and that was my issue with them last year. I had so much caterpillar damage as well as other insects and bugs getting to these and damaging the petals. Now for some reason the patch this year are fine so far, but we are only in midsummer. I'm sure the garden pests will come along and discover these very soon. All the flowers here in this little patch look good enough to add into bouquets. So I think from next week, oh, do you hear that noise? That's my neighbour's rooster. It was a chick, but now it's grown up and it turns out it's a rooster, not a female. So we'll see what happens there. Anyway, I was saying, yeah, I didn't add any of these into this week's bouquets, which I'll show you now. I dropped these off this morning at Tarmore Garden Centre. I didn't sell out last week. I only actually sold 2 bunches, but these things happen. I guess people just after Christmas probably don't have as much money to spend. I usually do sell most of the bunches, so I'm not too concerned about that. There's the noisy little fella. He's getting big now. He looks a little bit like Autumn, but of course Autumn was a female. And he's hanging out here with Snowflake under the apple tree. Oh my goodness, he's really practicing his crowing. He's been so noisy. They've just hopped into one of the dahlia beds. This is where I popped in some new varieties I purchased this year, as well as the bed beside that and the one over here too. Oh, I've got so much work to do out in the garden. Summertime, everything just gets out of control super fast. Like, even though I have cardboard laid down here with some mulch on top, the grass still managed to make its way between the raised bed and the weed barrier, so I'll have to pull all of that out. It's not too bad. It could be a lot worse if I hadn't put down the cardboards. Across the way from those raised beds, I have 2 more here with more dahlias, and beside them I have 2 beds full of zinnias. Lots of weeding to get done, but a lot of these plants now are flowering. They're not quite ready yet, because when you do the wiggle test they flop around a lot. You really need the stem to be nice and stiff. If I was to harvest it at this stage, it would just flop in an arrangement. It wouldn't hold its form. So these 2 beds just have a mixed lot of colours. Oh, do you know what I see on this one? Is that a flea beetle on there? I think it is. And he's after going in between the little petals. Oh, I didn't know flea beetles like zinnias. I hope they don't, because they really know how to destroy crops. I did show you here last week, but just quickly I'll show you the damage the flea beetles can do to your eggplants. I actually spot one just here. Look at him munching away probably. Oh, and there's another one over here. Well, despite that, this plant seems to be battling through, and if you take a look down here, it has already started to form the beginnings of an eggplant. This particular variety is called Supray. I'm going to bring this flower inside. It's starting to wilt already. Well, that's it for this week, everyone. Now, next Friday is going to be a very special video, and that is because it will be my 5-year anniversary of this channel, Gigi the Garden Girl. I just can't get over the fact that I've been uploading for 5 years. It's absolutely crazy. And I know some of you have been here from the very beginning, which is just, it feels so special. And some of you have even just joined over the last few days. So I'm thinking for next week, I can't guarantee it's going to be the entire video, but I may do a bit of a recap of the journey that we've been through over the last few years, the ups, the downs, the obstacles, and everything in between. So until then, thanks for all your support. I hope you have a great week and happy gardening.